Good morning. I got 6 things to say. That was fun. And we deserve this. Welcome to Victory Monday.
Did you have
everybody?
something to do with the pregame stuff when I saw that clip, that Kevin James clip? I said, wait a minute. Did you get into that room? Were you pressing the button?
I take no credit for anything that happened on Saturday before, during, or after the game.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I just dawned on me about Victory Monday after Nebraska beating that team from Boulder 28-10. Is that all 3 of our NFL teams won this weekend?
They did, and not all created equal.
So it's a true victory Monday.
You're right.
But we'd love to talk about the NFL. We'd love to talk about what's going on in college football and
do that later.
A Marcus Freeman upset loss and Texas is back and all that stuff.
Good light
There's
of
going to
cigar.
be a lot of stuff that comes from Saturday night because, man, drones are cool. Drones are cool. Winning football is cool.
Yeah.
And Saturday night showed you there were 2 teams playing, right? Because you can't just play with yourself. That's uncomfortable. Okay?
Well,
like, especially when you're going through
depends
camp
time
and
of
it's
the
just
day.
you on you.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to play an opponent? Saturday night, there were 2 teams playing there. There is one team, what they can be, and then there's the other team, what they are. The team that what they can be is now 2-0, and for the second straight week, delivered to a fan base, what do we do with our hands in the fourth quarter? We got nothing to do. No, I'm just kidding. That place was electric. Good on the fans. That was what the standard should be in Lincoln. You were there, Jimmy. I was there. It was a hell of a day from start to finish.
It was cathartic.
And people are going to go into work today. There will be so much productivity because people are happy.
Oh, yeah.
People are happy.
Lots of good morning.
Yes.
Sunday mornings are that much better. The coffee tastes a little bit better. Whether you read the paper, whether you just get on whatever outlet you want, it's always that's the thing that I think Saturday night into Sunday and obviously into today is we've all been there with our teams, whether it's you guys win Super Bowls and stuff. You cannot consume enough content because you just want to talk about every angle of it in such a good way. Like Saturday night, I'm sure a lot of people who either were there or not had a tough time going to bed that night. Then you couldn't wait to wake up, read what you might have missed that, could have been said from the Colorado side, because that's always fun to hear about. And then all day long, like I was hearing people zipping through on Sunday through the neighborhoods, honking and yelling GBR. Haven't seen that in a long time.
Are you sure it was not the Ding Ding Man? The ice cream man didn't come to Bennington?
That would have been kind of weird.
They don't allow him in Bennington?
Actually, we have seen the Ding Ding Man a few times in
Reese's
Reese's bicycle escapades.
Right on. I'm telling you.
We just keep going.
Hey, Ding Ding Man. That'd be Ty Robinson, but continue on.
Yeah. But I mean, think about it. There's just something about waking up on a Sunday morning after a big win, and you just cannot wait to turn on the TV, read the paper, however you take it in, and just consume yourself.
A whole fan base got laid
much
Saturday
more.
night. That's what it was. The whole fan base.
If you didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
But
so you're saying that there were a lot of bad decisions that were made
after
that's interpreted.
the Nebraska-Colorado game?
Think about the incoming freshman class.
No, wait a minute. Hold on here. There are some things that are good decisions. Not everything after dark is a bad decision.
Right.
There are some good decisions.
That's what I always said.
You might find out maybe a few weeks later that it wasn't the best decision.
Well, usually it doesn't take that long, Nick. Usually it's the next morning.
The old
should have ordered that pizza.
The old 10 at 2 at 10. But yeah, like everybody, whatever you were doing yesterday, everything felt better.
Yeah, so usually this show on Mondays and Bigger Overreaction is like a therapy session. People are beside themselves. They can't figure it out. They're not getting a return on their emotional investment.
They're sad.
This is what Saturday night was in Lincoln. Saturday night was therapeutic. Again, I got numerous at halftime tweets and texts from people that were like, we deserve this. We have waited so long for this. And that's what it was on Saturday night in Lincoln. And I don't know if I should go there because this is about Nebraska and that team they played. I don't know if I feel bad for their fans because they have to put up with whatever that is.
They'll have a good coach next year.
But I thought, should we just come into today and all the receipts and all the bookmarks and all the crap that was besetting from Boulder, just attack those fine people? And I thought, You know what? As I've gotten older, I really haven't gotten any more mature.
There we go.
And I really have
There we
never
go.
been mature in my life. And it's probably hurt me. But that's okay. I am who I am. I thought, you know what? Should we just spend 4 hours just trolling Colorado?
That's why I came to work today.
The adult said, you know what? No. Talk about Nebraska because now they're ranked. And then there was part of me that said, we got to do this. Jimmy?
Gary?
We might as well go there, right?
Yeah.
It's why I got up this morning.
Let's go.
Why is it? Oh, hold on. It's coming. There we go.
Come on.
The computer froze.
Come on, baby.
That is not what was supposed to play.
I mean, it's
The beginning needs to play.
it's kind of appropriate there.
Yeah. You know what? That was Colorado's offense.
That was the tunnel walk
Okay, that's-
for Colorado.
You know what? Instead of Gary Sharp said, I'm sorry. It lost its luster. It was like Pat Shurmur calling for that clip, not Gary Sharp. All right, I'm sorry.
Do they even have running backs? I genuinely was looking on Saturday night.
Yeah, they do.
I just thought they threw a receiver back there just to stand.
No, it's funny. They say they're going to run the football, and they have no ability to run the football. This is not about Colorado today. This is a lot about Nebraska, but we will dabble on some Colorado because it's Colorado, and Nebraska won the football game the other night. This is what Saturday was. Now, all of us on the show predicted a victory. I went Nebraska would cover.
Yep.
They're up 28-love at halftime. Okay? They are rolling in the deep.
I was too conservative on my pick.
But have you ever had friends who got married and they went to like a destination, but they didn't invite anybody?
Yeah.
Maybe they just invited like a close friend to be their best man or their maid of honor.
And family.
So they go there and they get married, but then they come back and they have a reception with all of their friends and family, and it's one big party, but it's not like the wedding because the wedding has already happened.
My
like
friend
you're
Dad
grown
did
out.
this.
That's kind of what Saturday was to me because this game was over before kickoff. This game was won in the last month. This game was won in the last 6 months with the confidence of a Nebraska team that has put in work to win these football games, to go from being the old Nebraska to the new Nebraska. And you know what? You're already married. You come and it's a party. You invite all your friends. Everybody knows that the outcome is predetermined, and you're just there to have a banger of a time. And to me, that's what Saturday night was.
Like
that game was won before kickoff ever happened. Nebraska won a football game. Don't overthink this. Nebraska won a game where they were better with talent. They were better with coaching. They were better prepared. They were better because everything in college football starts at the top and it trickles down and you mimic what your coach is. That game was over before they played it. And you know what? I'm glad Nebraska, for the first time in a long time, played to the script and they dominated Colorado. They dominated Colorado. And the old Nebraska, when things got in the second half and got discombobulated, okay, and the gong show of officials took over, and it was like no flow, and you're like, just get to the let me walk on the field. Come on! Nebraska didn't buckle when it was 28-10, and things haven't been going well for you, and the flow of the game has been disjointed because there's a flag on nearly every play. The old Nebraska, it would have become a detention convention. The new Nebraska, worried about themselves and continue to do work with a dominating defense and enough on offense not to shoot themselves in the foot. And I said on Friday, if the new Nebraska is here and it's building, you cannot deny that Nebraska football is different today than they've been in a long time. But the new Nebraska would show up on Saturday night, and the new Nebraska, which is still a work in progress, they showed up.
It's a serious program versus unserious program.
What they are, and then what they can be.
That played out Saturday more so than anything. And I know, and you've said it on a lot of occasions in describing Colorado, this is not a serious football program. That doesn't mean they don't have talent. That doesn't mean there are things about them.
They have plenty of talent.
They have talent.
They just have a head coach that doesn't care about their fans.
Well, and there's a lot about Colorado.
I'm not lying.
Well, I would say this about everything that they stand for is a facade. And again, you see that in a way a team is built. And this was probably the perfect example of watching two programs that are led in different directions. And watching how the first half played out for Colorado and the way that they're built compared to the way that the first half played out for Nebraska and the way that they're built. And then you go to the second half for Nebraska, that the way that they're built, as you mentioned, you have adversity. You have things that you are not clicking on as much as you were in the first half. You've got an absolute laundry fest on both sides of this too. And I think of when you are pushed, when you have that type of moment in a game that could be a turning point, that could all of a sudden erase all the momentum that you have. Look at how Nebraska, it's essentially, I would make this comparison. There are baseball teams in Major League Baseball we've talked about. They built from the core. Their core group is all of their farm system guys. Everyone that they bring up, they develop them. And then what you do in the transfer portal, via also very similar to free agency, is you address some holes with the money that you have. That is how Nebraska is built. Nebraska has made some good additions in the transfer portal, but they haven't built that program through the transfer portal. So when things like this happen, chances are a lot of these guys, the continuity between the coaching staff, between the players, they're going to be less to panic in those situations, as opposed to you go into a hostile environment like Colorado does. You go into that type of situation, you get punched in the mouth. I mean, as early as you possibly can. I mean, your first offensive series, and that place is up for grabs. You don't know what the hell to expect from each other because you haven't played with each other. And all you've been doing all week is promoting the brand, promoting the Colorado football brand. But what about that brand makes you convinced that it's got 4 quarters in an environment like that against a team that is going to be physical and is going to try to slug you every chance they get, that you can respond to it? There's not one person in that locker room probably trusts the other one that can do that.
Now, again, amazing start. The game was over before kickoff. I was not surprised by anything that happened on Saturday night. I was as confident as this guy could be that Nebraska, the new Nebraska, would show up and perform like that. And Colorado's got their issues, and now they're woebegone, and kick them aside.
They're not making them
from afar. We'll pay attention to them. But the new Nebraska showed up, and it is, again, they're built. There's something that's going on. They're starting to make moves, and I'm going to say this because there's a lot of positives and there's other things we're going to get into. I'm still on the 7-5 train this year, and I know it's maybe looking less likely that they will be just 7-5. But whatever the end game is this year, no one can look in the mirror and deny that Nebraska is not different, that it feels different, it looks different, and 2 games into year 2 of Matt Rule, Nebraska football is exactly where they should be. Not where they want to be, but exactly where they should be. And they finally got a signature victory on a stage where Nebraska football, here's the thing around college football. And now Nebraska is ranked, which is,
it's
I don't know how you look at it. I didn't go, goo-goo for Cocoa Puffs yesterday.
It was something.
Little fist pump. All right.
But something happened Saturday night. I've covered this program for a long, long time. Something happened Saturday night, and they played the Zach Bryan revival song. You a Zach Bryan fan?
Yeah. I'm aware of them. The things. Yes, so revival especially.
It's a popular song with college kids. And all those college kids
that the song they were singing?
Walked onto the field. Yes, they played it. And then and it was kind of cool on the field to hear it in unison with the students singing that. And there were a lot of players that were singing it as well. So that is the song called Revival. And
see what you did there. See what they did there.
Kenny Chesney has a song, Get Ready for the Big Revival. Everybody get in the van. But the team on the field and in the stands felt like something got woken up. And it felt like the old days of where every game matters, that people are confident, people want to win, and now they have the blueprint for how to win. It was like that hurdle you kind of start to jump over, but in the past, Nebraska football, when they think they're jumping over the hurdle, they come straight down on top of the hurdle. And I don't know if you've done that or not. That's not comfortable.
Yeah.
No. Okay, that's a bad look. Nebraska on Saturday night on that hurdle also, I think, got one full leg over the hurdle for what happened for the football team, and then they brought the fans who were unbelievable with them.
The students were good.
And speaking of the students, Jimmy, too,
they were angry.
This is something also that I think was awesome, is that they're there so early and it's packed in that student section as well. That if you create that, you show up as a student section to be there for your team. And that's not always been the case. I mean, the students will show up eventually, by kickoff. But as far as being there while Colorado's warming up, and I mean, that's right there. I'm sure all of the trash talking was being thrown
to them.
They were actually a student
section,
by
the
too.
way. Who cares that the student section was
FCU?
F-bombing Colorado?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Who cares?
Kids love bad words.
We have dogged the student section for being fair weather for
Absolutely.
the longest time.
I loved it.
They showed up,
mm-hmm.
and I walked down there into that corner because I was just very curious on who was at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they were giving it to Colorado. You know what? That's what good student sections do.
Yeah.
It's a home field advantage. Everybody, whether you were a student or not on Saturday night, they got their assignment and they fulfilled the assignment. They said, be involved. You can be part of the game. And I love that the student section not only showed up early, they got after it.
They were involved.
I don't think the funniest one was the FCU chant. I think the chant of Shiloh's broke.
Yeah.
I think that was the best chant. But they showed up. And then here's the other thing. Why I keep saying Saturday night was therapeutic. That second half went on forever. The fourth quarter, there was no flow to it whatsoever. But 86,000 people stayed in the stadium. That student section late in the fourth quarter was still packed. Hat tip to them. People followed through on their assignment, and that was a night.
Because they were having a blast.
That was an absolute night.
They were having an absolute blast. And I think they realized
kids like fun.
That you can't have an impact. And this is fun. And so the whole thing about that part is you get into, we'll have time to talk about Northern Iowa later, but you get into this, what is now an FCS team coming, and it's going to be kind of flat. But what we've always said is if you can have this student section that feels like they are a part of it, they're having a blast, and then your team responds, your team delivers, they do exactly that, that becomes contagious. Let's do that again. Think about all those freshmen that were in the student section making their way in for one of the first times ever, seeing a big-time environment like that.
They were blowing about 0.21.
Yes, they probably were. And thinking, this is how it is all the time? It's like for night games, this is what we do? Awesome.
Come next week. Why don't you bring the kiddos?
And that's how you have.
Aside and let me tell them, it hasn't always been.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
This.
But
you were very spoiled the first 2 weeks, where in the fourth quarter, you're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
I mean, you thought that I thought at halftime, Nebraska's human victory cigar, Jalen Gramstad, was going to get to play for the second straight week.
Victory. The human victory cigar.
That's
I like
true.
that.
I thought they're going to hang 60 on him.
Yeah, but that part of it, and then there's a feeling in the second half. And this was a very odd feeling with especially a lot of the people that I was watching the game with, is things were getting basically turning into a slog. That usually that old feeling of F, what does this mean? What is going to happen? I don't like this. That old familiar feeling. I don't think that defense allowed you to think that. And maybe some of you still had that feeling in the second half. Maybe some of you are watching the game in the stands or wherever you're doing and thinking, oh man, this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. But I would ask you, I think a lot of people were watching with their eyes that defense was doing and feeling actually some type of comfort that, okay, some weird stuff is happening, but we still got those guys. And I've said this about dominant defenses before. I bring up the team that I root for in the NFL all the time. When Chicago had a great defense in 2018 and then going into 2019, that there was something exciting about when they would get on the field, even if the offense would go 3 and out, that you couldn't wait to see the defense come on because you knew they were so much better than what they were going up against.
And you must have been fully bared yesterday watching that thing.
Oh, that was the most Bears victory in the world. Hey, you don't apologize for victories, do you?
Either do the Steelers.
That's right. Speaking of former Bears,
with their home game in Atlanta.
But that was the cool thing about Saturday is every time the defense came on the field, you knew something special could happen, and they give you that feeling, and they feed off of that. So there's a lot of things, in the second half you can say, like you've been saying, they're still developing. This is still a work in progress. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you could look at and be like, okay, we got to see how this thing plays out. But as far as that defense, the way that they came out, one of the biggest concerns that I think we all had was secondary versus their skill position players. I mean, Travis Hunter got his, but tell me where that really impacted the game at all. It didn't. Horn was a non-factor. Wester was a non-factor.
Joe Horn was more
you
of a factor.
Joked about the running game. True. I think they had a quota to have some handoffs. That's about it. But everything that defense did, even when things were not going well in the second half, gave you the utmost confidence of, we're fine. I don't think that old Nebraska thing is going to happen. And that to me is also a major turning point.
Tony White.
And just the very early part of the season, 2 games in the season where you're thinking, okay.
You can be the most pessimistic, but you cannot deny after watching Saturday and the first 2 games that they're trending in the right direction, that it's different. Where the season goes, who knows? Because the biggest question now will be, or one of the questions, I mean, there are plenty of questions. There are some things that I think are a concern with this football team that have been a concern now for 2 straight weeks, is how do they handle, and this is why I say they're built different, because the head coach is, man, he reiterated so many times in that postgame press conference Saturday night, we're 1-0. They always talk about being 1-0, and next week go ahead and be 1-0, and they're not looking ahead, and they haven't earned the right to look ahead, is what do they do when they start winning? Okay, how do they handle winning? How do they handle all that attention? And again, I'm going to go back to something I just said a little bit ago. Everything with a football program starts at the top. And that guy at the top wants to go week by week. So that may answer my question on how they're going to handle winning. Because Saturday against an FCS team that barely beat St. Thomas, who got upset the week before, how do you handle winning? Then you come out and it doesn't matter who you're playing and you put the hammer down, and you're one of the rare teams in college football that is yet to look like they're dancing with their opponent and messing with their food.
Right.
They've been impressive for 2 weeks with things to work on, which is ideal because that's where they're supposed to be 2 games into the Matt Rule era in year number 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of, even in the Bo years, where you might have a exciting non-conference game like 2014 Miami, and then a lot of people are almost expecting you to be a little bit more flat on the outside. That is, I'm worried about a letdown. Not worried that they'll lose, but I'm worried about a letdown. And you'll see a team maybe kind of play down to a level. I think that's absolutely right. There's going to be a lot of talk about externally again about the rankings, that they are in the top 25 for the first time since 2019. They're off to their first 2-0 start since 2016. All of those different, the different historical references.
These are positives
of exciting, and it is. They are positives. But if they dominate defensively against a Colorado offense that has what they have, then you expect them now to, if you're going to have that turn as a program, which I think a lot of us believe on Saturday, it happened in front of our eyes, that you don't miss a beat. And I would also say the offense shows a little bit of feasting in this one too, that it's just business as usual, where they come out, they make some plays, before you know it, you get to the third quarter and it's already, a 40 point victory, where all of a sudden, just like UTEP, you're starting to see a lot of dudes and you're getting guys reps. Everybody's feeling good about themselves or feeling themselves. And all of a sudden you're getting ready to roll right into conference play, feeling solid about 3-0, but also knowing that week 2 looked better than week 1. Week 3 looked better, even with the opponent, because you were able to address some things and get some confidence. It just needs to look its part. And that's the thing. Your eyes are going to tell you that as well, because that has not been the case. I remember watching, going back to 2016.
More of you, less of us today. You can enjoy this Victory Monday with us on Mornings with Sharp and Hanley and Jimmy.
They're coming in.
402-951-1620 on the 42 Degree, the Source hotline. We'll take a lot of calls this morning, and you just let it rip.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who is in your sights. Us, Nebraska, the team.
We have a dump button.
The team that was here that's gone back to Boulder. A lot of people on their sideline film during the game with their phones.
I hope they have a lot of gigs on their phone.
Dude, it's to be up close to that. It's kind of interesting. Here's one of the things you need to know before you get to Adam and Nathan in Ohio is there were former players, not off the 94 team, but more recently, like maybe the 2014 team that were lit like a monkey.
Kenny Bill?
That were standing on the sidelines by the Colorado bench, that the Colorado players were chirping at them during the game. I mean, what are we doing?
Shouldn't they be focused on the game?
All right. We start with Adam on this Victory Monday. Good morning, Adam.
Let them rip.
Good morning, guys. A couple of things it's been a while since I've seen Nebraska. When you're watching them, like, okay, is it okay to get excited now? Okay, I'm going to get excited now. Watching the D-line, it was like with Polar Bear and Robinson was like watching Minimum Boys, and I hope that's the way it is the whole season. They literally just look ridiculous. They look like, and the other guys look like they're having fun. Just literally, I don't have a lot of words for it, but anyway, they played their frickin' rival like they didn't like them, and that's what got me most excited. You played Colorado like you hated them, like you're supposed to. Like when you play Iowa, Colorado, they hate you. They want nothing good for you. So that made me really happy. And the videos before the game of Terrell Owens on the field, walking across the end saying, we're bringing an L to Lincoln. And they may be superstars by name, but our assistants are 10 times the coach their head coaches are, in my opinion. They don't it's laughable. And that's what you saw. Dion got his butt out coached. The line got pushed around, and the significance of Raiola and just what he's brought as an attitude for the team is priceless. The dude's quiet. He's a class act, and we got some weapons on the offense. You know, those flags sucked in the second half, but the 69-yard run, all that stuff. It's going to be a fun season. It may not be conference championship season. You never know, but I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Adam, thanks for the phone call. Here's one thing about Nebraska's pressure with the defensive line. And they crushed Colorado's interior offensive line. And then if you were on the outside, you got held.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nebraska brought just three or four guys with pressure, and they were getting home. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
They brought 3 or 4 guys, and they got home. Terrence Knighton had a big night. Tony White had a big night. And Corey Campbell had an even bigger night as a strength and conditioning coach. All right, here is Nathan in Ohio. Good morning, Nathan.
Hey, guys. It's been a long time since I've been able to call in, so really appreciate it. Man, so my first child was born in 2003, and none of my children have seen Nebraska how I've seen Nebraska. And to get a text from my son being like, Dad, are you watching the game? Because I was at work. I'm like, yeah, because I work at a cigar bar. So fortunately, I was able to watch it. But he was like, we're cooking, and this is amazing. And I was like, it almost brought tears to my eyes because it's like, yes, we are. And this team looks like an actual team. All the way up and down, it looks like an actual team to be proud of. And I can't remember the last time, maybe 2009, that you really felt that. But even then, it was like the offense, right? So it's like it warmed the cockles of my proverbial heart.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna be sending some cigars to you guys since Happer didn't give you guys cigars for the birth of his child, which is a shame. So I'm gonna be sending.
God bless you, sir.
One, Nathan, you are a diehard 6A to 6P'er because that was on the crossover after this show that I made that comment to Happer. Nathan, enjoy this. Talk all the smack you want to talk for the next week.
Oh, I have tons of bookmarks I'm going through on Twitter. Just slow drip that I'm going through, I wanted to take my time and savor it. And, you can't just go all gung-ho the first day, right? You just got to let it drip out this entire week.
Thanks, Nathan.
Nice. So you're celebrating the rebirth of the Nebraska football program. That's how you tie that in. There's your birth.
I just from afar, they seemed like a football team that was agitated by the attention that Hollywood was getting. And Hollywood came in here, and Nebraska isn't Hollywood. I don't know if you've noticed. When you drive by the Les Hills, you don't see HOLLYWOD.
Yeah, it's a little different.
The 28 Olympics are not coming to Omaha.
Damn it.
Not anytime soon.
But Hollywood came into Lincoln, and that football team was agitated. You could tell the way they prepared.
The tunnel walk?
How confident they were.
That was fun.
How they played the football game. And then, you know what? If you want the smoke, you got to be ready to accept the smoke when somebody, when you put it out there and you're a charlatan, okay, and all you are is BS. Okay, and we call you on your BS and we walk through your BS and wipe it on you, okay? You deserve to be ripped. But how about the troll job by Nebraska after the game for players, coaches as well, either subtly or TikTok.
Yeah. And
or
the watch.
The song they played, Shadur Sanders' song in the locker room. That was a team that
was it a banger at least?
That was a team that said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of hearing about two guys.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear about a TEAM. And to get that, we have to go show it. But then when it's over, we're going to let you know about it. And I mean, with the Bussin' with the Boys, by the way, those guys
had a day.
Yeah. They were on the sidelines. The
Twisted Tea.
It's a show.
It is.
And Will Compton got after it, swore on Husker Vision. They bleeped it out.
He had a good time.
But the picture of those two with Shadur, and then, I mean, the whole watch thing.
Yeah.
Like even when Shadur leaves early to go to the locker room and everybody's showing him the watch.
Mm-hmm.
What time is it?
Yeah, Shadur, what time is it?
And then when they would come on the field out of the locker room, all the fans would I saw pictures of fans that held their wrist up towards his face as he walking on the field.
That was the beauty of it. They knew what they knew what was coming in and how they were going to handle that, which was awesome.
That's what college sports is.
Yes.
It's emotion, it's pettiness. I'm here for it. You know what? If you want it, you better be able to take it.
Yeah.